Should couples have a joint bank account together? What are the pros and cons of having a joint bank account together? How to talk about such a sensitive topic with your significant other? And what to do if your significant other isn't adhering to the rules that you guys set for your financial life together. My name is Arman, and these are all the topics that we're going to be talking about today in today's video on Simple Money. Alright, so this is a really hot topic when it comes down to financial management, and it doesn't just apply to married couples either. It can apply to any couple. It could be a business partner, it could be your family, or just literally any couple from any walk of life. But in this particular video, we're going to be talking about married couples specifically. Now, TD Ameritrade has put out a statistic that says that 41% of all divorces that happen within the Generation X population and 29% of all divorces that happened within the boomer generation were caused because of finances. And Business Insider put out another study that says millennials are actually avoiding the combination of their finances specifically because of this reason and these scary statistics that we just stated. So the big question comes up, should you actually combine your finances with your partner, and how to actually approach the topic? What are the pros and cons of doing so? You know, marriage is this beautiful union between two individuals who come together and say, you know what, I'm willing to commit myself to you, even though I know you're not perfect, you got some quirks, you got some issues, and sometimes you can just be downright weird. But one of the conversations that they tend to avoid, and most couples really actually do this, is whether or not they should actually combine their finances. And if that's you, we've done a little bit of research for you guys and found out what the positives and negatives are for combining your finances with your significant other or your spouse. All right, so first off, let's talk about the pros and cons of actually having the same accounts, okay? All right, so the pros are convenience, equality, teamwork, and saving on fees. All right, so convenience is pretty easy to understand. If you're combining all of your money inside of one account and putting everything in the same checking account, for example, it's really easy to monitor what's going in, what's going out, what the expenses are, what you need to actually be prepared for, and it's just overall very simple and convenient. Equality addresses couples that maybe one of them is working less, or maybe one of them is actually staying home and taking care of the children. And so by putting all the money inside one account, it kind of keeps a level platform for everybody. It makes everything a little bit more equal so that they feel like they also have access to the same things that the major breadwinner does. Teamwork is another one of those easy to understand things. So if you're trying to hit some major purchase goal, or if you're trying to hit some kind of major financial goal, by combining your assets, you can actually do that a lot faster and grow a lot quicker. It's also this ability to actually kind of call each other out and keep each other in check when you see that certain spending habits are increasing, or you just want to make sure that you hit certain budgets, and you can just have that teamwork together and keep each other accountable. Saving on fees is also pretty self-explanatory. A lot of banks require minimum balances for their checking accounts. You know, you need to maintain a $1,000 daily limit to avoid maintenance fees or avoid management fees, whatever it may be. And so when you're actually combining your money inside that checking account, it's just easier to keep those balances and avoid all these unnecessary fees. Now, the cons of having the same account are actual potential money spats or arguments and buying gifts. Now, potential money spats, fairly self-explanatory. Sometimes you may make certain purchases that you have to explain to the other person, or maybe you want to make a purchase that you kind of don't want to explain to the other person, but you still have to clear it because you guys have combined your accounts. So those are some awkward situations that may happen if you actually have combined accounts. And the second piece is actually a follow-up to the first one. If you want to buy a gift for your partner, then you have to do it in kind of a sneaky way, because they can actually see the money's coming out of the account. It's like, what did you use that money for? So if you want kind of a little bit of a trick to actually be able to buy a gift for your partner, do it with cash, right? Make little incremental withdrawals from the account until you have enough cash, and then you go ahead and buy the gift. All right, real quick, if you're enjoying this video, if you're getting any kind of value from it, make sure to go ahead and smash that like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and then hit that notification bell also so that you get notified the next time that we drop a video. All right, so now let's go into the pros and cons of maintaining separate accounts. The pros are autonomy and protecting individual assets. Autonomy addresses freedom, right? So if you want to make certain purchases, or if you just want to manage your money however you want to manage your money, by keeping your accounts separate, you are allowed to do that. You don't have to justify any kind of expenses, or if you want to just hoard and keep all your money, you can do that too. Protecting individual assets addresses this idea that if one side brings a lot of wealth in, or if one side brings a lot of debt in, you want to make sure that you keep those things separate, or at least somehow managed, so that you're not putting all of that responsibility on the other person. Now, if you really have a lot of wealth that you need to manage and you need to take care of, then maybe this idea of getting an actual attorney and getting a prenuptial agreement or a postnuptial agreement in place so that you can protect yourselves in case that anything may happen. You never know what happens, but something might happen. Now, the cons of maintaining separate accounts is that keeping track of bills or accessing the funds. All right, so keeping track of bills addresses this idea that if there's a lot of expenses, or not even expenses, just necessary expenses that come in, you need to designate who pays what, right? So you don't miss your bills and you don't put yourself in this weird situation where the lights get cut off or something like that. So you just gotta make sure that you actually communicate that in advance so that you know who's paying what. Harder account access addresses this idea that sometimes disability happens. Sometimes somebody gets into an accident, they get incapacitated, and you need to be able to account for that situation. And if you've separated your accounts, then it makes it harder for the remaining spouse or the remaining partner to actually get access to those funds if they need it. All right, so now that we know what the pros and cons are on each side, let's talk about why it's actually important for you to have this conversation. And whether or not you want to combine your assets with each other, it's really important that you actually have this conversation. The main reason is because you need to understand what type of habits and type of a money blueprint your spouse or your significant other has, and you need to also communicate what yours is so that you guys can level with each other, and if you need to help each other, you can actually go ahead and do that. For example, you could be a saver and your partner may be a spender. Now, if that's the case, you're trying to save a lot of money because you want to address for retirement or some kind of a big savings or a big spending that you need to make later on. And every time that your partner spends some of that money, it puts anxiety and stress on you, and then ultimately puts anxiety and stress on the relationship. Now, the opposite could be true where you're the spender and your partner is the saver. And you're trying to get them to enjoy the money, right? They're saving and working hard, doing all these things, but they're not spending any of it. And you want to try to convince them to go ahead and do that. And that may end up putting some kind of stress on the relationship. Now, we actually made this really great video. It's called the JAR system. It's a budgeting system that we've done that you can watch right here. Now, that video addresses this whole idea of saving in balance, right? And then spending in balance, so that whoever you are, whatever your personality is around money, it can actually help you guys do those things without putting any kind of stress or any kind of anxiety on the relationship. All right, so now let's talk about your specific situation. You could fall into two categories right now. Let's say that you're already combining your finances with your partner, but you've never actually had the conversation on what the rules are and how you guys want to move forward. If that's the case, this would be a great time to have that conversation, and you can actually use this video as the conversation starter. You know, just share it, send them the link, DM them or something like that. The second situation may be that you've already talked about the rules that you guys want to have for your finances, but they're not adhering to whatever those rules are. And if that's the case, then maybe it's time to have a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation and temporarily separate your guys' account so that you can level with each other and get yourself in a position that you trust each other, and then you can go ahead and recombine your accounts. And we don't want this to put any kind of a stress on your relationship, so keep that part separate. Be a little bit pragmatic about it. Don't be emotional about it. Just say, hey, you know what? We did talk about this. I feel like it didn't really work out, so let's separate it for now, and then we can go ahead and see what happens in a couple of months or something like that. Now, if you need help with that conversation, which is totally understandable, counseling is available. In fact, we actually have a lot of great budgeting consultants that we would be more than happy to share with you guys, that you can talk with them, do kind of a group session, and get on the same page with each other. Use the consultant as that third party to kind of help level it out and say some of the things that maybe you don't want to say, and then get your guys in a position that you can actually win financially, because we really just want you to win. We don't charge for these consultations. We just want to put you guys in a position to succeed financially, and if we can do that, then awesome. All right, so that's it for today's video. I hope you got some value from it, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section below. We really do want to hear from you, and I really hope that I get to see you in the next video. All right, thanks for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell right there, and then you'll get notified the next time that we drop a video. Actually, why wait? You can watch this one, or even that one. So many choices. Did you do it? Did they do it?
No, not yet.